Teams are changing names, dropping out, shuffling rosters, and making returns from match-fixing scandals. And we talk about Smite. I'm John Reisinger, and with me as always are the Daily Dot's Jared Wynne, and an empty spot at the table usually occupied by Meg Turney, who is out on holiday while the rest of us continue to work hard and be responsible adults. Here's what you need to know. A Dota 2 team has made a return to the game after having been banned for match fixing, and they're not exactly being subtle about it. Aero Gaming were among the best teams in the Southeast Asian region this year, at their peak managing to qualify for the International. But a match fixing scandal in October left the team banned from competing in numerous tournaments. Now they're back, and with a new name. We are sorry. That's not a joke. This is the team's actual name. Jared, how is this being received?
It's a very silly thing to do. You know, if you want to come back from a match-fixing scandal, just come back and try to look for forgiveness and play the game like Solo has. He's a player who's involved in a very well-known match-fixing thing, and then he came back and played for Team Empire, and everything's not cool, but, you know, he gets to play, and people forget about it. You come back with a team name like We Are Sorry.
Yeah, I get like a team name change to like maybe, put a reset on the brand, but like that's not a reset on the brand. That's like a spotlight on what got you banned in the first place.
Oh, it definitely brings, you could call yourselves We Cheated Before, We Won't Again. That would be a little more subtle, I guess. I don't know. We Are Sorry, it doesn't really do it for me. And it's kind of...
Like if it's an actual apology, it's not actually coming across as an apology. It's coming across as like, we're back.
Yeah, and to be clear, what makes it better is that this team actually like forged screenshots to try to show that they did not fix matches. They really went through a lot of bullshit to try to make it seem like they didn't do this. So not only did
they cheat, but then they covered up that they're cheating.
Yes, they
and
covered
cheated
it up
to cover up the cheating.
Yeah, just so we're clear on how disingenuous this name seems. Like 3 months later, this happened in October, I believe. So it's a pretty quick turnaround for them to go from trying to use Photoshop to cover up their match-fixing scandal to announcing through their team name that they are sorry. And what a great way to apologize is to change your team name. That's when you know someone's being honest about it.
It seems like a bit juvenile, and I would assume that a big movement in the esports industry is to legitimize themselves and to stack themselves against other sports, and to do stuff like this. You don't see this in other professional sports where someone changes their name for a joke.
Or to We Are Sorry. I don't know if they're joking. They're just maybe not the wisest.
It's a joke. It's a bad joke.
They're not the wisest individuals. they got involved in match fixing to begin with. This kind of shows why a competition that's run by one developer like Riot controlling all of League of Legends, basically, or in Korea, Kespa having control over the StarCraft scene there, is at times beneficial because you can have one governing body ban a team or a player for doing something like match fixing, which is very serious, and then have that be that. In Dota 2 and in many games, you don't have that one space where a team's going to be punished appropriately for something like this. So they can come back a few months later with a new name like We Are Sorry. Again, if they had just used a different name, I think after a month or so, people would have largely forgotten.
No one's going to forget now.
No,
it's in their name what they are.
They should just get it tattooed across their cheek or something.
Just right over here.
Please forgive us. I wonder what Meg would say about this.
Yeah, Meg. Well, staying with Dota 2, in the span of just a week, 3 professional teams pulled out of major tournaments. Cloud9 and Hellraisers both withdrew from the I-League final in China, and Team Empire then withdrew from the Dota 2 League final in Las Vegas. There were varying reasons for the withdrawals, with Cloud9 at one point being disciplined by I-League organizers for the decision, before that discipline was withdrawn. Why are all these pro Dota 2 teams refusing to go to these events?
There's a confluence of factors. I think visas are one of them. We saw it with Hellraisers, trying to get visas for players. That's understandable because immigration sucks. Anyone who's gone through immigration knows it's a very difficult thing to go through.
Yeah.
At the same time, these teams play through qualifying events, which are often extensive. They know ahead of time what might happen.
Yeah.
To then wait at the last minute and then say, hey, guess what? We can't get the visas we thought we could get, or we didn't think we could get, but we played through the qualifier anyway and kind of led the event on, led our fans on. That's kind of silly, and we've seen that at times happen.
It's kind of gambling with the organizers of the tournament.
Yeah, and that's why you saw I-League temporarily punish Cloud9 because they're trying to set a precedent that, if teams qualify for our event, we expect them to actually attend the event. On the other hand, you also have just a big... there's so many events. There's almost an overflow of them, especially for top teams who are participating in qualifiers every week of the year and then going to a big event every other week, it seems like. I can understand not wanting to participate in all of those, but at the same time, if you don't want to participate in all the events, schedule some time off. Don't just participate in everything. I think it's a silly thing to complain about. Like, we have too many games to play. If you don't want to play too many games, take some games off.
Yeah.
And don't put those games on your schedule and don't commit to playing those games and then withdraw from them. Have the foresight to say, we're probably going to need some time off to kind of rest our weary minds and wrists rather than just playing every single fucking day.
Yeah, regardless of like the reasons of why you cancel, you are more so punishing others instead of, taking responsibility yourself for what, whatever went wrong on your end.
Yeah, and there's some good reasons. I mean, if a guy can't get a visa and he thought he was going to be able to, like it just gets denied and then you're kind of screwed, that's understandable. But it's another thing when you have issues that could have been at least foreseen, but you just didn't bother to deal with, and instead you chose to play the qualifier or do whatever, or accept the invite, and then at the last minute you're like, hey, we can't actually play in this tournament. Not even the last minute, but just even within a few weeks, because then the organizer has to find a substitute team, and they have to look for visas and such, and it's just a big mess.
Yeah, it sounds like the whole visa international aspect of this is kind of just a byproduct of the fact that these games and these teams are international, and that this is just part of the details of the whole league and tournaments and the teams that you just kind of have to deal with, unfortunately.
Yeah, and the tournaments just happen whenever they happen, for the most part. We saw Valve actually had to change the dates for an international qualifier in Europe because there was a conflict there for next summer. Again, it's a thing where if you don't have one organizing, governing body, you're going to have stuff like this happen. That's not to say that having one body in charge of the whole operation is necessarily a good thing in all respects.
There's bad things that can happen from that as well.
But these are two examples we've gone through now of where that does benefit you, because in that case, you're not going to have this kind of thing happen where tournaments overlap and you have players and teams having to make decisions on which ones to attend, even after they qualify for them.
Yeah. Well, following up on a story discussed last week, the American Counter-Strike roster chaos continued as Denial, the team who lost sniper Shazam Khan to Cloud9 following Spencer Hiko Martin departing Cloud9 for iBuyPower, made perhaps the most ridiculous move yet. Less than 24 hours after releasing Jacob Fugly Medina from the team, Denial brought him right back. Jared, how can a professional team just kick someone and then justify bringing him back like a day later?
Immaturity.
Perfect.
Confusion.
Such a good reason.
Yes, these are great reasons, very professional reasons. The team got started in this for understandable reasons. They're moving up, and they have a player snipe, basically, from their team by Cloud9, because Cloud9 can pay a lot more money than Denial can. That's just the way it is.
Understandable.
Yeah, but then reacting to that change, they have not really done a good job of doing that. They lose a qualifying match for the MLG X Games event in Aspen in January, and then right after that, they decide to bring back the guy they kicked to bring in someone else, and they kick someone else to bring back that guy they kicked to bring in the other guy.
I didn't follow that at all. That just made so much nonsense.
Exactly. That's how I felt about it too when I saw it. That's exactly how I felt about it. So it's just silly, and it's like I said before last week. I just wish these teams would settle on a team and a roster. Again, it's one thing if a player is offered a big contract for a big team, but there's really not that many cases of it happening. It happens, and it does trigger turmoil like this at times, but you have to be able to step back and say, okay, we have to make this one move to compensate for that one thing happening, and then we just kind of settle down and let things fall and let things simmer.
A little more long-term planning with the rosters.
And that's not always the biggest strength when you're letting these players who are often very young control their own teams and rosters. They're not professional general managers or something from a professional sports team. They're just players who want to play with people they like and want to be successful, and sometimes they make rash decisions as a result of that. So that's why you get stuff like that. I have to say as well, we have what should be extra space on the table, and somehow it feels smaller because of the way we've been positioned here. I just want to point that out.
You okay?
I'm filing a formal complaint with the production here that this table feels smaller even though we have one less person at the table.
I just don't think you're used to being this close to my face. Like that might be just overwhelming in itself. You okay now?
Let's just move on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Smite has made some headlines this week. The third-person MOBA has just surpassed $2 million in prize pool funding for the upcoming Smite World Championship. The game has all the trappings now of a top esports title with a strong player base and a professional league backed by the game's designers. Jared, how did Smite generate this much money?
Well, they got people to pay them, basically. They have a big event that has community members paying them in order to participate and
like a fundraiser.
Contribute to the fund. Yes, and they get some things in return. It's very similar to what Valve does with the International.
Really?
Yes. It's just a different way of going about it, but it's kind of the same thing. it's a very popular thing to do these days, is to let the community fund your event for you.
Yeah, crowdfunding.
Yes, exactly.
Works out sometimes.
It does work out sometimes. The concern, of course, is oversaturation. If you keep having this happen repeatedly, it's very impressive for Smite to be in this position. To say that this was like their first year and they've done this right out of the gate is a little bit disingenuous. I mean, they had millions of players at their official launch because they'd already built up their player count through unofficial, the game being unofficially released and played. So, but still, even having said that, getting past the PR speak, it's still really impressive for the game. It puts Smite pretty clearly on the same level as games like League of Legends, like not quite Dota 2, but up around that ballpark in terms of prize money available and the potential for players to be professional playing the game. So it's really cool news. It's great to have more games be in that tier where you can truly play it professionally, which I think Smite's now there. The question now is it going to stay there? Is this a longevity thing that we have here? I think it probably is. They have a professional league they're setting up. This could be around for a long time. And again, I hope it is. It'd be great to see if it was.
I wouldn't be surprised if Rooster Teeth puts together a little bit of a professional team. We got a lot of Smite players around here. Yeah,
a lot of professional level Smite players.
Yeah, professional level.
Are you like the captain of the team? Would you be?
Sure, why not?
And you could have a Luna like as your carry.
Yeah, I can have my dog as our little mascot.
Yeah, she can be the carry.
Who's the carry?
You're well on your way to being a professional. You're already the favorite, I think. Good luck.
We could be.
Yeah.
Well, finally, the fields for the upcoming League Championship Series seasons in both North America and Europe have been completed. North American teams Curse Academy and Team Coast will be joining the field on this side of the Atlantic, while European teams H2K Gaming and Giants will be taking part in the European competition. Jared, do any of these teams have a chance to contend with this?
H2K Gaming is a solid squad. They were favored to get through the qualifier, and they got through the qualifier. I don't think they're going to win the European LCS or anything, but they could have something to say about it. On the North American side, probably not so much. Curse Academy, fun team. Hey, good to go. Team Coast, using the ringers to get through. Hey, nice job, I guess, but not really a lot of potential to threaten teams like Cloud9 and TSM.
Like they did enough to get themselves into the tournament, but they're not really on the level to take the tournament.
Yeah, you leveled up your dance skills well enough to get into the party, but now that you're in the party, what are you going to do?
I completely connect.
You follow
with that.
me there?
Yeah, I followed that so much. That spells out my entire adolescence.
If you get into the boy dance party, are you gonna boy dance appropriately?
What is a boy dance party? You keep talking about a boy dance party. Is that more specific than just a regular dance party?
Now we are alone here. There's no one else in the room. But if in theory other people were here, does anyone else know what a boy dance party is from SNL? And Bruce Willis was involved. YouTube, if you must, boy dance party, and then imagine John and I in that position, and I feel like I should probably stop now. You don't have to do the second part.
The imagination can take over at that point.
Just watch the video. Yeah. Honestly, you don't need to imagine anything involving me or John or the dog.
No, I give okay for imagining things.
Well, it depends on what you're imagining. Let's keep it to the dance party.
Well, so Curse Academy and Team Curse won't be playing under the same name next season. Let's talk about that. What's going on? And same with Evil Geniuses.
There's a sponsor rule, a single sponsor rule that exists with Riot, where they don't want to have multiple teams under the same brand. So you have Evil Geniuses and Alliance technically under the Good Game Agency brand, who were just bought by Twitch, who were bought by Amazon. No conflict there, right? And then you have now Team Curse and Curse Academy, who will both be on the North American LCS, plus the folks behind Curse are pushing software that they want multiple LCS teams to use. So if they have Team Curse involved under their name, that for Riot represents a conflict as well. It's kind of a strange thing.
So are both the teams going to change their names? So Curse and Curse Academy are going to change?
Everyone gets rebranded. You get a rebrand. You get a rebrand. Everyone gets a rebrand.
Hopefully it'll be better than We Are Sorry.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be We Are Sorry. What are they sorry for?
No, I mean better than that stupid of a joke of a name. Like actually maybe something with some planning behind it.
Well, these are clearly professional LCS teams. They would never have a dumb name. I can't imagine any LCS teams having a dumb name. It's like the legitimacy of the rule is worth debating, I guess, whether or not you need to have split names and identities for teams that are still going to be run by the same people and backed financially in the same way. It's just you kind of act like they're not, I guess. I don't know. It's a pit of discourse is what I would call it.
It's a great image.
There's really no you can argue either way. It's just this is what Riot wants to do.
It's just what's gonna happen. It makes sense a little bit, but they could compete with the names as
it's
is.
a facade, is what it is, John. It's all a facade.
It's all a lie, everybody. It's all a lie.
But because Riot is the governing body, see, we're going back to it. Because Riot is in charge, they get to say,
right.
We have a facade now. If they want to implement a facade, they're in a position to do so because they are the governing body in League of Legends.
Thank you.
This is what they can do.
I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, they're in the holiday spirit.
On that note, that's it for the leaderboard this week. For more gaming and entertainment news, make sure you click like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week for more from the leaderboard. GG, everyone. GG, Jared.
GG, Meg.